Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible.
Welcome to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Joe. Hello, my beautiful life and happiness listeners. How is it going today? I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Happy Thursday if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, or happy whatever day it is. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you're feeling positive and good and doing whatever you can to create that life you want to live into the happiest and the fullest that you possibly can. I'm feeling pretty good. I have so much stuff going on in my life right now, but it's all positive and feel good, and it's just so cool. And one of the best parts of my life right now is being able to come and talk to you on this podcast about things that I think need to be discussed or need to be talked about to give people more hope that they can create the life that they want to live. And so today I kind of want to talk about something I think that we all struggle with at one point in our life. You know, some people I think maybe struggle with it a little bit more than others. Totally depends on who you are as a person, and I think it just depends on just, you know, life situations and just, you know, it's all personal matters, right? Everything I talk about on this podcast, it just depends on who you are, and I hope that I share some information with you that you can connect with and you can take from. You can take some of the advice and tips and tricks that I talk about, or just listen and kind of relate a little bit, you know, make you feel like you're not alone, that there is so many other people going through similar things that you are. And, you know, we just have to try our best to be living our life to the fullest and the happiest. And that's all what this podcast is about, is to help you do that, to help you feel happy and full and enjoy life, because life is so short and life is actually really great when we actually decide to enjoy it. But things get in the way. Life is a little bit chaotic as well. You know, life isn't fair, and that's reality. But we can do whatever we can to make the most of it and to make it best for ourselves, because that's all that matters. So today I want to talk about how to not feel inadequate. And I think that this is something that we all kind of struggle with at one point, because there's always, you know, I'm not good enough, or I didn't reach what I thought I was supposed to, or this person's better than I am. And, you know, I think what kind of inspired this episode for me today was social media. Social media is quite apparent in all of our lives. It's the root of everything. And I think social media is a really great tool when we use it appropriately and we use it in the right sense. I think it can be really fun. I think it can be great to spread awareness and to talk about important issues. I think it can be great just for fun, to show your life and connect with friends. Like, I know I love, like, part of the reason I love social media so much is I get to connect with friends that I have in different places of the world, and I get to keep up with people's lives. Like, I'm sure you do. That's how you kind of enjoy it as well too. But of course, there's so many aspects to social media, and, you know, whether you're posting for your just lifestyle, just for fun, because you like to post on social media, that's awesome. Or maybe you're posting for a business, or you're posting, like, you know, there's so many different reasons why you could be a part of social media. But I don't think it matters exactly why you are a part of social media. I think that no matter the reason why you're on there, social media can make us feel inadequate, like we're not enough. And, you know, that's just kind of the reality, because Instagram, Facebook, like, there's a lot of real issues that are talked about on social media, but there's also things that people post that aren't true either. And I mean that in a sense of Instagram is like a highlight reel, right? Because why would we want to post our worst moments? You know, that's something that we don't really, want to share to the entire world. But are we going to post a picture of us having fun at the beach with our friends? Yeah, of course we are, because that's a great moment, and we want to share the great moments with people in the world. But because of that, social media has this thing of, I think there's a lot of comparisons because, people do post the highlights of their life, and there's nothing wrong with posting the highlights of your life. I'm guilty of that. I would, of course, posting all the highlights of my life. I don't want people to see the stuff, that I'm maybe not so proud of, or situations in my life that, that didn't work out the way I wanted them to. So of course we're going to post the things that make us feel good and the things that, we feel like we look good in and that we just feel proud of, right? So social media, it goes both ways. But with that being said, since it's kind of somewhat a highlight reel of the positive things in our lives, that leaves for a lot of comparisons and judgment, and it can make us feel quite low about ourselves because we do look at somebody's life on social media and we're like, wow, they travel the world, they're successful, look, they're in such a happy relationship, look, all their friends and family, they're beautiful and tan and long, we have this image of people because that's what people post, is the best part of them. If you take 100 pictures, you're going to post the ones that you look the best in. You're not going to post the one with your double chin or something like that you're not proud of. You're going to post the ones you feel beautiful in. And that's just how it is. But then when we scroll through our feeds and we look at somebody's life, it's like, how is this person so perfect? Well, it's a highlight reel, right? So that can make us feel inadequate, like we are not enough, like we don't have the life that they have. And social media just plays such a huge role in that because I find myself scrolling and looking at things. And even when I was hanging out with my girlfriends and stuff, they're always like, oh, look at this, look at her, look at him, look at her life. Oh, I want to travel the world like her. I want to have hair like her or be more like him. And it's just like, that's just how it is. It's how it's the reality of it all. So the first thing I want to talk about how to stop feeling inadequate is addressing how to stop feeling inadequate on social media. Particularly because social media is just apparent. It's not going to go away. And I personally really enjoy it. And I'm sure you do too, for a lot of reasons. So we have to learn how to use it in the right way. And first of all, let's rewind a little bit. Let's talk about why you might feel inadequate. On social media, like I said, it's kind of like the highlight reel of things, right? We have those images, we have those things that everything just looks so perfect. Of course you're going to feel like, wow, I'm not enough, or I don't have this great life, right? But you can also maybe feel inadequate because, you're just having this habit of comparing yourself to others and you're focusing mainly on things that you feel like you lack. One time in school, we had that, and when I was in high school, I think it was grade 10 or 11, we had this female workshop, and it was a really interesting thing. And in one of the parts of the workshop, you had to sit at a table with a group of girls, right? It was just an all women's workshop. So we're sitting at this group of table, and you had to say one thing that you had to compliment somebody else on something, on their appearance. And it wasn't, wasn't personality, it was appearance. And for me, I'm very short. I'm extremely short. And so the girl that was sitting next to me, she was actually one of my friends, and she's like 5'10", and I was like, you just compliment anything you want. So I was like, you have very nice, tall, lean legs. And that was something I complimented her on. And everyone kind of went around the table and said, oh, you have this, or you have this, I like your this, I like your that, whatever, right? So we're commenting on each other's appearance. And then you were also supposed to write down on a piece of paper something that you wish you could change about yourself. And almost every single person around the table wrote down on that piece of paper the same thing that they complimented the other person. So for me, I'm so short, I complimented my friend's long legs because I wish I had longer legs. Whereas, other girls, like she was commenting on something else that she didn't like about herself, right? So it's kind of funny that we do that, right? We desire something that we feel like we lack. So that makes us feel inadequate. Another reason we could feel inadequate is that you're surrounding yourself with people who tend to put you down instead of lifting you up. I talk a lot about surrounding yourself with the right people. And if you are surrounding yourself with people that tear you down or make you feel low about yourself, or maybe just make you feel crappy. I don't know how else to describe it. If these people make you feel crappy about your image, your personality, like just confidence, your self-esteem in general, you're going to feel inadequate. You also maybe feel inadequate because you are capable of so much more, but you've restricted yourself from achieving your desires because of fear and limiting beliefs. Fear is such a huge reason of feeling inadequate. We're scared to go, the extra mile or go above and beyond because we're scared to fail, or, we're in fear that it's not going to work out, or that we're going to look stupid while we do it, or whatever it is. It's always the fear of, we just want to limit ourselves because we don't want to feel low. But then we're limiting ourselves and it makes us feel low either way. So it goes both ways. You also might feel inadequate because you have a lack of self-belief and you depend too much on external validation. And so this just comes with self-confidence and our self-esteem. And we naturally, as humans, we want validation from other people and from other things in our world, like social media. Like, we like the validation of getting likes on our photo. We like the validation of having followers. We like the validation of comments and praise and this and that. And it's so true, and it's so prevalent on social media. So I'm going to talk a little about that in a little bit here. But you also might feel inadequate because you suffer from imposter syndrome. And you have like an inability to accept your successes. And imposter syndrome is so apparent in so many people's lives, and you might actually not realize that you have imposter syndrome. If you do not know about imposter syndrome, I do have a whole episode on it on this podcast about imposter syndrome in general. But basically, you don't believe that you are who you are. Like, you don't believe your greatness. You don't believe, it's confidence, it's self-esteem. You feel like you're an imposter in your own life. Like, you're actually not good enough. And so it's like when you are successful, or say you get something, or you go after your goals and you achieve that goal, you still find a way to like talk yourself down or talk yourself out of it. Oh, I didn't deserve that, and I can do better next time. I can do more. And so you feel like an imposter in your own life, even when you're achieving things. So these are all reasons why we might feel inadequate. And I think all of them are apparent on social media. So it's time for a little bit of a break, but when we get back, I am going to talk about exactly how you can stop feeling inadequate on social media directly, as well as just stop feeling inadequate in our lives in general. So I have lots of exciting information to come for you today, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Okay, so we are talking about feeling inadequate and how we can stop feeling inadequate in our lives. And so let's talk about first social media, how to stop feeling inadequate on social media. I'm going to give you some tips here that has really helped me in my life recently. The first thing that I suggest is basically detoxing your entire social media feeds. If you can unfollow pages that make you feel inadequate, I highly suggest doing so. If you are the type of person who doesn't, like maybe people that make you feel inadequate on social media, you don't want to unfollow them because they can see that you unfollow them if they ever looked into that or whatever the case is. There's also a really cool feature on like Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's on Facebook. Most social media platforms have this feature these days where you can just mute people. So you don't have to unfollow them. You don't have to, they won't get notified that you mute them, but basically you just mute the person. So you still technically follow them, and they do follow you. They can see your things, but you can't see their things. And I think this is super, super beneficial because if someone is popping up on your social media feeds and it makes you feel inadequate when you look at them on social media, I highly suggest muting them, because this is literally just going to stop you from paying attention to it. And then your feeds are just going to be filled with positive, feel-good things that you actually really enjoy and that make you feel good. And maybe you only have to do this for a little bit, like for a little while, until you might get a little bit more control on how you feel about yourself and gain some more confidence maybe and just feel better. So there's not a, you don't have to do it forever, but I really think it's beneficial to mute people. Instagram now I know has the feature where you can't see how many likes other people are getting and how many you can see followers, but you can't see likes. And I think this is a really cool change that Instagram made. I know some people are still able to see likes. I am one of those people who is able to still see likes. I don't know why. I just haven't updated my Instagram in months, I guess. And which is something that I probably should do, because I think this feature is really cool to not be able to see other people's likes, because in this way you are not looking at someone's post and seeing, okay, this person got 500 likes and I posted a similar picture and I only got 100 likes. And it makes us feel kind of inadequate, like we're not enough. Like, why did their picture get more than my picture did? So if you are like me, who has not updated their Instagram to get this new feature, I highly suggest updating your Instagram so you can't see those likes. It just stops you from comparing yourself. It stops you from feeling like you have to reach a certain number to feel good. And this was something that was super apparent for me in high school. I was posting on social media because I needed the validation of likes and comments and people, liking my photos or wanting to be my friend. And I thought, I think growing up, we all was like, if I have lots of followers, if I have lots of likes on my pictures, that means people like me. No, not necessarily. Everyone scrolls through social media and likes things. And so we have to get that out of our head. So if you're able to just eliminate seeing likes altogether, you will see, of course, the likes on your own photos, but that's fine because you have nothing else to compare it to. So definitely update your Instagram and get that little feature there for you so that you don't see any likes. For me too, this tip, I don't know, some people might want to do this, some people might not be comfortable with doing this, but be the person that doesn't make their Instagram or their Facebook or their Twitter, don't make it a highlight reel. Make it raw and real. Why are you on social media? And, this is something that's probably really, really scary to post something maybe that you're not, you don't look the best in. Like, I feel like that there's so many photos I have of me and my friends that I'm like, oh, I don't like that angle. I don't feel like I look good. So I don't post it. But it's actually a beautiful scenery or a beautiful memory and I want to share it, but I don't feel like I look my absolute best in it. So it stops me from doing that. Where, I'm trying to change my mindset to, okay, what's really important, the way that I look in the photo or that great memory that I want to share with my followers on Instagram. And so find out the reason why you're on social media and what exactly, what are you doing there? Are you there to have a highlight reel? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having your highlight reel and having your perfect Instagram feed or your Facebook profile, whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're on social media because you just want to share things with your friends and see what they're doing, then be the person that posts something raw and real and unedited and just have fun with it. We have to stop caring what other people think and comparing likes and follows and all these different stuff. Social media is not going anywhere, but it can make us feel inadequate if we use it poorly. So really dig into why you might be using social media, and I find that will really help you kind of stop comparing yourself and then use it more properly, because social media is really great when we're able to use it properly. Seeing other people's lives is great. Sharing our lives is great. We just have to make sure that we're in a stable mental place too to feel that we're not comparing ourselves to everyone else. And we also have to understand that not everything on Instagram and Facebook and stuff is real. Those people posting all those travel photos of them looking absolute perfect and their perfect relationship and perfect family and perfect friends, nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. And we have to understand that everyone is real, everyone is raw, everyone has their flaws, and social media just isn't always the place where you see those things, but it doesn't mean that it's not true. So once you can understand and grasp that concept, I think you will feel better about yourself on social media and while you like things and post your own stuff. So mute people, unfollow people, make sure you update your Instagram so you can't see other people's likes. I think that's super beneficial. And then figure out the reason why you are on social media. Dig into, write it down, write your reasons, pros and cons of why you're on social media. What's the real reason? And then let your social media reflect your real reason. And once you understand yourself, why you're on there and what you want out of it, then I think that will really help you not feel inadequate. Okay, so now that's a lot about social media. I hope that was helpful because social media for me is a big feeling of, it just makes me feel not good enough all the time, right? And so those little tricks have really helped me, so I hope they help you. Now, feeling inadequate, it's not, we're not born with feeling inadequate. Life experiences and emotions create that sense within us, and it's a variety of different, reasons of why, it could be something from your past that makes you feel inadequate. When we're little, when we felt like afraid or anxious, automatically our mind tells us something is wrong with us. Not with our environment. As we grow up, we can kind of understand more, okay, maybe there's maybe not something wrong with me. Maybe it's the environment that I'm in or the situation that I'm in that's making you feel this type of way. But when we're young, we just automatically feel like it's our fault because we don't know any better. We feel afraid or anxious, and there's something wrong with us for feeling afraid or anxious because we don't understand those emotions and experiences. But as we grow older, we do start to understand those experiences and those emotions, and we kind of get a better understanding. But all of those emotions, experiences, that's kind of what also makes us feel inadequate. So when we do feel inadequate, we often are just mentally telling ourselves negative messages that kind of just reaffirm our feelings of inadequacy. So it's always about the dialogue in our head. I say that all the time. You have to change the dialogue in your head, which is easier said than done, but we have to change the dialogue in our head if we want to make a difference. So the first thing I want, my tip for you is take an inventory of your time. I think this is a really important tool that you can have. Once you kind of can pay attention to how you're spending your time, you might understand reasons why you're feeling inadequate. So for example, if you're noticing that you're feeling inadequate within your friendships, you may want to look at how you spend your time with your friendships, how much effort you're putting into those friendships, how much effort your friends are putting into you. See how you spend your time and kind of understand that. Are you feeling inadequate with your friendship because you're spending too much time with your boyfriend or girlfriend and so you're actually not putting the effort into those friendships? Or maybe they're not putting that effort into you and you don't feel like you're being valued enough and so you don't feel inadequate, you feel inadequate because of that. So try to take an inventory of your time and how you spend it. If you really, want something, you're say you are an athlete and you're going for the gold, but you feel like you'll never get there, you feel inadequate, and you just kind of, it's like, why bother? Well, how are you spending your time? If you really, really want to go for that and get the gold, then how are you spending time? Are you practicing enough? Are you putting the time and effort into something that you really, really care about? A lot of the time it's like, yeah, I want this, I want that, I want to do this, but it's how badly do you really want it? And the effort and the time that you put into those things will always make the results happen. So if you are going to put a lot of effort and time into something, I promise you, it's true. Practice makes perfect. It is true. So put the time into things that you maybe feel inadequate about, and I think it'll help you feel less inadequate because you put the effort in. You've done your time, and it helps you feel more in control about those things. So now my next one is identify what you can and cannot control. This is in so many different aspects of life, but we need to remind ourselves again and again that we can't control everything, and we can't control what people are posting on social media. We can't control what the person is doing beside us, or the person that we see at the bar or the club or the restaurant or walking down the street. We can't control that. But we can control our emotions and the way that we respond to things. And, so control what you can control and focus on those things. And if you feel low self-esteem when you see someone walking down the street, maybe you need to do some self-reflection about, why do I feel so low about myself in this scenario? Why am I feeling this way? All right, it's time for another break. But when we get back, I have the best tips of today's episode coming up. They will help you stop feeling inadequate in all aspects of your life: social media, social, personal, workforce, whatever it is, these tips will help you stop feeling inadequate. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast. We're talking all about how to stop feeling inadequate in your life. So first of all, always remember each of us has either someone or something that makes us feel inadequate, invalid, like we're not good enough. And so sometimes this is a person, like, a parent, a partner, a complete stranger, like our social media feed sometimes, even a friend. Sometimes we have that person that just makes us feel inadequate. Or often that's, it could be something that makes us feel inadequate, like an academic institution, a cultural stereotype, and sometimes we kind of buy into it ourselves, and we kind of makes it happen for ourselves. So there's always something in all of our lives that might make us feel invalid or inadequate. So understand that this is feeling inadequate is a very normal feeling, a very common experience, and it just happens to all of us in different aspects of our life, and it just depends on how you want to go about it. So these tips are really going to help you in all aspects of your life. So first of all, you have to trust that everyone has their own stuff that they're dealing with that's going on. As perfect as that influencer on Instagram looks, that she has stuff going on too that you have no idea. And that's why, Instagram's the highlight reel, because you have no idea what's going on. That person you see walking down the street, you have no idea what's actually going on in their life. They have stuff going on in their life just like you have stuff going on in your life. They have reasons to feel inadequate just like you have reasons to feel inadequate. So understanding that everyone has their own stuff going on, everyone is going to feel inadequate at one point in their life. They might just feel inadequate at different areas of their life than you do. So understanding that you are not alone, you are someone that will experience it just like the next, and you'll experience it once, twice, 10, 100 times in your life, no matter what. It is a natural feeling. So understand everyone has their own stuff. We all have self-doubt, which is something too that when you have a lot of self-doubt, you probably, your confidence, your self-esteem is a little bit lower. And so we have to try to work up our confidence and self-esteem. And how do you do that? How do you, I feel like the answer to stop feeling inadequate is be confident, be proud of yourself. And how do you do that? How do we gain confidence that way? And I was listening to a podcast actually a couple months ago, and they were talking a little bit about confidence, and this really struck my heart. Like, I was like, wow, this makes sense. And confidence isn't something that we can buy the textbook, learn how to do. Confidence is something that we have to experience. And so you have to go through things to feel confident. It's like standing in front of a crowd and doing a speech. You're not going to feel confident the first time because it's a new experience. It's terrifying. You might have stage fright. But then the second time you do it, you're going to feel a little bit more confident. And then the third time, more confident. Fourth time, more confident. And it goes up and up and up and up. So it's the same with any aspect of our life. So if you feel, not confident, you feel inadequate at something, especially at first, or you see someone walking down the street and that person has all, like, look at them, they're dressed so nice. Like, how did they look that way? Like, I try so hard, I can't look that way. Like, right? And so we have this, like, dialogue in our head, like, ugh, I'm not enough. But as we start to kind of go through things and reflect on things more and, maybe see lots of people where it's like, oh, I don't feel enough. Or I don't feel like I'm where that person is. But over time, we gain confidence. And this has to do with a lot of self-reflection and understanding who you are and just learning and growing and experience, which is not, the answer you really want to hear when, how do you gain confidence and stop feeling inadequate? Well, you just have to go through life. You just have to experience things. And like I said, the more times you're going to stand on that stage and talk in front of that crowd, the more confident you're going to feel. Practice makes perfect. Experience is going to make you feel more confident. Now this next tip I find so helpful. It's so cool. And I got this from, Dr. Carol Dweck of Stanford University. She actually did a TED Talk, and she's really well known for her research on mindset. And so she says to add yet. So the word yet, which I think this is really, really cool. So it's like, oh, I don't have the confidence to stand in front of the crowd and do my speech. That sounds pretty negative, right? But I don't have the confidence to stand in front of the crowd and do my speech yet. It's a little more positive, isn't it, right? Kind of changes that mindset to a mindset of growth, a mindset of, I got this, some positivity. I'm not there, but I will get there yet. And I love the word yet. This has made a huge difference in my life, even for little tiny things where I'm like, oh, did I receive that letter in the mail yet? Yet. Did I receive it yet? I know I'm going to get it. Did I receive my acceptance letter yet? It's as simple as adding yet to the end of your sentence that shifts your mindset from a fixed mindset to a mindset of growth, of change, that you are capable of doing things and things will happen for you. So literally by just adding the word yet to the negative dialogue in your head or while you're speaking it out loud, it doesn't matter. Add the word yet and see how much it changes. Like it changes the way you act, the way you think, the way you feel, like just automatically. So use the word yet. And then speaking with words, this is my next very, very, very beneficial tip as well. Replace but with and. Okay, so this is extremely important. But is such a negative word. Such a negative word. But it can be such a negative word because when you use the word but, you erase everything you said before it. Think about that. Like, it's so, so true. So, I'm eating healthier, but I have to exercise more. Instead of I'm eating healthier and I have to exercise more. So I'm doing good, but I still got work to do and I can do more and I'm going to do more. It doesn't erase the first thing that you did because eating healthier is a very great first step. And if you're, going for your fitness goals. So don't shed yourself of the hard work that you've done just because you might not be fully where you want to go yet. So replace but with and. And so you have value to what you've already done. I'm eating healthier. And I need to work out more. And I'm going to work out more. Instead of, but I need to work out more. You're basically just erasing everything you just said. It doesn't really matter that I'm eating healthier because I have to work out more. No, it does matter that you're eating healthier because you've made that healthy decision in your life and you're doing positive things and you're moving forward. You just have some more stuff to do. So I'm eating healthier and I need to work out more. You're just helping yourself. You're validating it for yourself that you are putting in hard work, but you're still growing. And that's really important to understand when you are feeling inadequate, that you are still growing. And we're growing every single day. Every single day. We are learning and experiencing and going through things that make a world of a difference in our lives later on. So try to always replace but with and and always add yet to sentences that you can as well. Just these tiny little words, these little 3-letter words make a huge difference in the way that you feel and your mindset. I promise you. I promise. It's all about the dialogue in your head. How are you talking to yourself? My next tip for you then is just give your best self a rest. Okay? And by this, I mean you don't always have to be your best self. You don't always have to be your happy-go-lucky, cheerful, positive vibe self all the time. You don't always have to be, doing everything, eating completely healthy and working out every day and doing your best work and getting everything done. Like, your best self isn't a 24/7 thing. Like, that's just not a reality. And sometimes we just really have to give it a rest. And sometimes we just feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves to be the best version of ourselves all the time. And I literally talk about becoming the best version of yourself on this podcast every single episode. It's what this is about. But I talk about it every single episode because we are always, always, always working to that best version of ourselves. Always. And there's always growth. There's always room for improvement. I know I sometimes hate, like, when people say that to me. Well, there's always room for improvement. It's like, really? But then you actually think about it, you're right. There is always room for improvement because we are always ever changing and growing and making changes in our life that are going to reflect on who we are as a human being. So give your best self a rest. You don't have to be perfect all the time. You don't have to be the best version of yourself all the time. And, if you're not feeling good enough one day, maybe you're having just an off day. You're just having a bad day. You're okay to have bad days. It's all right. You don't have to be perfect. No one's perfect. And when we let go of being Mrs. Perfect and being, I got all my stuff together all the time, like, you just feel like a weight is lifting off your shoulders. I am guilty of this. I'm like, I have so many things to do. I gotta be on top of everything. I gotta do this, and this, and this. And, I'm busy, and I gotta do it well. I have to do everything so well that I forget to give myself a break. I forget to, I'm allowed to make mistakes. I'm supposed to make mistakes. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. We all are still learning and growing. And I don't have to be a perfect version of Alyssa Joe every single day. And you don't have to be the perfect version of you every single day. That's the whole point of working to the best version of yourself, is that we fall down, but we pick ourselves back up. And that's what matters. So give your best self a rest. And with all of that being said, remember that being your Mrs. Perfect or Mr. Perfect or, being the best version of you 24/7, frankly, it's boring. That's just the truth. It's boring because life is a roller coaster of ups and downs and hills and valleys, and things will always happen. And if you're always perfect and you're always on the ball, how are you ever supposed to experience some crazy things or go through things and learn more? Like, it's boring to be completely perfect because it's just like, well, sometimes we make a mistake. Sometimes we go down the wrong path, or we make the wrong choice. But sometimes that choice, we might have to face some consequences, but it leads us down to something that's even more beautiful, or, something that's even better for us, or we go through an experience that we might have not appreciated in the moment, but wow, it has like changed our life in better ways, like later on down the road. And we realize that after doing some reflection, and, sometimes days, weeks, months, years go by before we realize that, wow, that wrong decision actually led me to this moment, and I feel pretty good about it. I'm really glad that I experienced that, even though it felt pretty crappy at the time. It's made a world of difference in my life now. Perfection is boring. You're not supposed to be perfect. Life is literally, you get to wake up every single day and do what you want. It's the opportunity to be who you want and create the life that you want. And we stop ourselves from doing that because of feeling inadequate, that we're not good enough. Well, I'm going to tell you, you are good enough for anything that you want to go for. And the only person or thing that matters is that you feel good enough yourself, is that you believe that you are good enough. You have to believe in yourself to stop feeling inadequate. That's my last tip for you, is believe in yourself. And it's not the easiest thing to do, to trust and believe in yourself that you are enough. But once you are actually able to believe that, wow, life makes a huge difference. And you're not always going to believe that, but have you ever, sometimes you do believe in yourself, sometimes you don't. I think we all kind of go through that. It's like, oh, well, I got this, but I don't got this. Like, we just, there's aspects in our life that we fully believe in ourselves, and then there's aspects in our life that we don't. But think about the aspects in your life that you do believe yourself, that you know you're good at, that you know you feel good enough for. And remember that feeling and soak that feeling in to hold on to that. So then when a situation comes around that makes you feel inadequate, you can pull that feeling of I am good enough back in and realize that you are good enough. And just keep practicing, just keep experiencing. You're never going to gain your confidence or boost your self-esteem unless you just keep experiencing and making mistakes and picking yourself back up. That's the most important thing, is just picking yourself back up. And so when you feel inadequate in an aspect of your life, hold on to the feelings of I am good enough, the times that you did feel good enough, the times that you did feel confident. Hold on to those feelings. Understand that, you don't have to be perfect all the time. You don't have to be your best self all the time. Being your best self all the time is boring. Make some mistakes. Do something crazy. Have fun and experience stuff, because no matter where we go or what we do in life, there will always be things that make us feel inadequate. But the most important thing is how you believe yourself and how you feel about yourself. It doesn't matter how someone else looks at you. It's how do you feel? And you are good enough if you believe that you're good enough. There's literally nobody in this world that can tell you you're not good enough for something if you believe that you are good enough. So it all starts within you. Like I always say, it all starts within you. All right, well, that is all of the information that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I really actually enjoyed sharing all this information with you. I just find it so apparent for so many people in so many aspects of your life. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're able to relate and take away some advice and some tips from this to make you believe in yourself and feel like you are enough, because you are enough. So thank you so much for listening to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Joe. I so appreciate you being here. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you are notified every single time there's a new episode, Mondays and Thursdays. Head over to our social media pages, hit the follow and the like button. I am on there quite often. I like to engage with you. I would love to have a conversation, talk, chat, whatever you want to do. Go over to our social media pages. I'm always there. And then leave a 5-star review, because it helps a ton. And I love reading and seeing the reviews. It makes my day so much better. So thank you. Stay positive, stay healthy, and remember that you are enough.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find the show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast.